Great. So thank you for attending. I just wanted to share my gratitude for actually coming out. Thank you for filming. I appreciate that as well. So my talk today is going to be about how I actually don't believe that AI is going to change software at all, really. And the major reason why is because there's a dirty secret in the software industry. Maybe a couple of you guys actually know it. But this dirty secret has resulted in this kind of weird, ephemeral ideology with a lot of entrepreneurs who come into the industry who think if they just build a software project that suddenly they will get users and they will get money. It doesn't matter if they know investors, if they already know people who might want the project. For some reason, they tend to go and build something. Maybe they don't even know anything about marketing or sales, and then they will just expect that if they build a product and they post it to Product Hunt or one of the other, or Reddit or something like that, suddenly people are going to be interested and sign up. Now, actually, this was the case maybe 2 decades ago, because at the time, software was a blue ocean, right? If you built something like Airbnb or Uber, you built a huge platform that covered a lot of different features or a big chunk of the market, you would be able to instantly sell it because there was nothing else there. And people were looking at software because they could see that it was going to be the frontier of the future. Now, the market is so saturated with people in the space, especially with AI, making any founder who has no technical background whatsoever capable of building an app with lovable, or, I mean, there's new apps every day, right? So if this is the case, the major thing that we're recognizing in the software industry now is that software is a mature industry. It is no longer a blue ocean industry, and that means the same kind of marketing and sales that you'd have to do with an old industry like real estate, like a plumbing business, like any of the old kind of infrastructure that have been there, they now apply to software. So that user acquisition portion is something that was always important, and it's even more important now because the cost of creating software is lower. But that doesn't make the fundamental business attributes any different than what they used to be. So here's your dirty secret in software. Go and find your users, and I guarantee that that will actually build a real business. It's not just about vibe coding an app and then throwing it out onto Reddit or something like that. Now, are there any questions for this speech that I provided today?
How do you find your users?
Yes, good question. So you can use Reddit, you can use forums, especially if you have a niche app, like maybe you sell things for buying flights or buying flights for a specific area of geography of the world. Those are things that you can do. You can just post to existing platforms for people to see what you've built. But the other thing that you can do is you can use all of the infrastructure that exists for other businesses. You can sell via ads, right? You can get people and build awareness via ads. The best way, I think, though, is social media. And the reason why I think that is because it's not just about, as I had mentioned earlier when I was talking about this event, it's not just about making something that people get value out of. It's also the branding behind it, the story behind it, the person and the kind of values that they espouse. So if you can share that process of building on social media, which you see a lot more nowadays, you can really see that that's also an effective strategy for acquiring users and getting people interested and sharing what you have to offer to the wider market. Cool. Any other questions?
Yeah, what do you think about the business model of going to a small to medium business and saying I can automate all of your tasks or be like an AI expert for you and just use your knowledge of AI tools to kind of make their business work better?
Yes, it's actually a very good business model. It's a very common one that's espoused on the internet nowadays. I think the challenge is that you have to work with boomers and you have to work with really old people who don't understand AI. So how do you get that? Do you know? I think you already know the answer to that question.
Facebook.
Yeah, you can get them with Facebook, but it's just you appeal to who they are as people, right? So boomers have a value system. They have a certain type of people that they like, an archetype of person that they appreciate. You know, usually they're probably gonna like people who are more clean cut or use sir or madam or this kind of language, especially if you're doing your business in America. So it's just you have to appeal to that segment. And I don't appeal to that segment. I don't know, maybe I think you could actually appeal to that segment The other person who is giving us the space, he appeals to that segment actually. He knows tons of older Japanese men. He's really good at making informal kind of relationships with them. And as a result, he can get into their organization and then sell and pitch his services. Yeah, good question though. Excellent question. Anything else?
How do you feel that the age of AI is going to affect the centralization or decentralization of app development?
I mean, I think that we're already seeing it in terms of anybody can make an app now. So like the idea to conception of the technology is just easier, right? So it reduces the barrier to entry in the market. So now the new barrier is attention. So essentially, can you get somebody's attention long enough to look at your application and then actually use it and then potentially give you feedback? That's really hard to do, especially nowadays in the age of attention. So that's where it's changed things. Whereas like 10 years ago, you know, it took 10 years, 5 years to make a really good engineer. So it took a while to build up an engineer. And then after that, the ability to communicate with that engineer was a huge point of friction. And even after that, it's like 6 months to a year to build out a really good project, right? Especially if it was cutting edge 10 years ago. Now that's like a couple months max. And you might not even need like high technical skill set depending on the niche that you're approaching. So it's attention, yeah. Go ahead, Paco.
How do you deal with